this video, we're going to compare the exterior and interior, along with performance differences between the fixed gear Cardinal and the Cardinal RG. We've even included flights in both planes.
It's rare to find two Cardinals side by side that are as beautiful as these two are, and the fact that they're both 1976 models, even better. And then on top of that, we've got the fixed gear and the RG right next to each other. So I had to take this opportunity to be able to compare the two models and show you all the similarities and differences between the two. I just couldn't pass it up.
There are obviously some year-to-year changes in each model, so this comparison is going to focus on the 1976 Cardinals. The Cessna Cardinal was first introduced with a fixed gear in 1967, and that was produced until 1978. The retractable gear Cardinal, or Cardinal RG, was introduced in 1970 and produced until 1978.
And there are obviously a few key changes and differences between the two. One of the main ones being that the retractable gear has a 200 horsepower fuel injected Lycoming, whereas the fixed gear comes with a 180 horsepower carbureted Lycoming engine. And then obviously you've got the difference between the fixed gear and the retractable gear. But there are multiple other changes to them that you'll see. Besides the fact that they have the same fuselage, some of the unique differences are that the RG has an increased gross weight up to 2,800 pounds, whereas the fixed gear is at 2,500 pounds. Looking at the front and starting from the cowling, we're going to see that the lights on them are in two different locations. They both have taxi and landing light options. The fixed gear is further down here in the cowling, the dual lights, whereas the retractable gear is right up underneath the nose cone. So if we take a look at one of the differences again here is in the landing gear, the tire size on this one. If you take a look at this one, come over here and take a look at the RG. They've made this a lower profile design and smaller, and the reason for that being that it needs to be able to fit up and underneath into the fuselage during the retraction process. On the interior of the Cardinals, the cabin is almost identical, besides a few key differences that I'm going to show you over here in the RG. So taking a look at the interior here of the RG, the differences are the add-ons that this one has, being that there's obviously a emergency gear handle, and that's found right here between the seats. We have the fuel selector valve being different, that there's an off position that the fixed gear does not have. Underneath the seat here is an additional fuel drain selector down there for the fuel, and then obviously being back here, we have to have a spot for those tires to go when the wheels when we're retracting it, so we've got this hump in here built into the baggage compartment for that.
Let's compare the performance of these two planes. Looking in the pilot's operating handbook at the performance numbers, you need to remember that these are calculated at full gross weight and in a brand new airplane, so these numbers can vary somewhat with each plane. I've marked in green you can see which airplane leads in each category. They are both great airplanes, but the aerodynamically clean airframe of the Cardinal RG combined with its higher horsepower engine means that it can fly faster, higher, and longer range while carrying more weight. The fixed gear, on the other hand, has a lower fuel burn, a slightly lower stall speed, and shorter takeoff and landing distances. The flight characteristics are fairly similar for both airplanes since they both have the same fuselage. The fixed gear can take off in a shorter distance of only 750 feet, whereas the RG takes about 890 feet. Although the RG can be operated on grass, I personally wouldn't, while the fixed gear can operate in grass fields comfortably. The RG can also climb faster at 925 feet, whereas the fixed gear climbs at about 840 feet per minute. They are both wonderful airplanes with roomy and comfortable cabins. They're an economical, reliable airplane. Cruising long distances is comfortable in either model with their amazing visibility and the light, predictable handling. You just can't beat the views from a Cardinal. I have flown long cross-country trips in both fixed gear and RG models. Here's the approach in a fixed gear. When you trim for the approach, it is very easy to fly. And with its really low stall speeds, it is a safe plane to fly as well. The landing roll on a fixed gear is only 600 feet. In the RG, you need to remember to put the gear down. Now, it looks a little funny how the gear goes down, but typically no one sees it. The approach in an RG is very similar. You just need to trim it properly, and it'll fly itself. The landing roll of the RG is 730 feet, and the stall speeds are just a couple of knots higher than the fixed gear, but it's still really low, so it's a very stable and safe plane to land.
Thank you for watching today. We hope that you enjoyed the video. We ask that you like our video, subscribe to our channel if you'd like to see additional videos like this in the future, and of course, if you've got any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below. We always do our best to answer them.